guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be doing some Frankenstein movie recommendations. Some of you may know I am a huge Frankenstein fan. I have a full recommendation list for some of my favorite Frankenstein retelling books that I will link up in the cards for you guys if you want to go check it out. I did full Frankenstein makeup and everything and it was really fun. I love the original book as well, and I watched some Frankenstein movies so that I could come and chat with you guys about them. Some of them were really good, some of them were not so good, but I thought I'd share them with you today. There are so many Frankenstein movies. I'm going to share 5 of them with you today, and I hope you enjoy this list. Okay, first up we're going to start off with Mary Shelley. This is probably the newest adaptation with Elle Fanning. This came out a couple years ago. I finally got to watching it. This is basically about Mary Shelley's life, which is actually quite fascinating. She was a dark, interesting, powerful woman. I actually listened to a talk from Kiersten White, who did a Frankenstein retelling that I really love. She's an author. Talk a lot about Mary Shelley and her life, and it was so interesting. Like, she hung out in graveyards. She wrote this dark book when it was like not really appropriate, and it was really interesting. However, the movie, while Elle and all the actors were really good, the movie was so slow, and I love a good, like, kind of angsty British style movie, so I'm used to that, but this seemed even slower than normal, and honestly kind of like nothing happened. Like, the last half hour is when they actually talked about like the Frankenstein stuff, and not much happened before then. It was just really drawn out, and it took me a while to get through it, so unfortunately I don't highly recommend this one, but it is interesting to learn more about Mary Shelley. I'm sure there are better books and things though. Not the best rating from me. Then we have Young Frankenstein. So this one is with Gene Wilder and some other famous people. This is probably Jeff's favorite Frankenstein retelling. This is very old. It's in black and white, although it wasn't quite old enough to be in black and white, I don't think. I'm not sure exactly when it came out. And this is just about like Frankenstein's life before things happened. It's very kooky and cheesy, like slapsticky, kind of like Three Stooges style Frankenstein. I don't particularly love this style of humor, but I know a lot of people really enjoy it, so it's worth checking out and kind of knocking a classic off your list. Next up we have Frankenweenie. This is a Tim Burton. Again, we got another black and white play animation, stop motion animation, I believe. So Nightmare Before Christmas style, and I love Tim Burton. So this is about a young boy named Victor. His beloved dog dies, and he has recently learned about reanimation, and he decides to kind of try and bring his dog back to life, and it works. And there's a whole Frankenstein retelling going on with it. This one's really cute. It's very dark though, so if you have very sensitive kids, I would wait until they're a little bit older because the dog dies and there's some like dramatic things, and it's a teensy bit scary, but it's really cute and definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. Then we have I, Frankenstein. So this came out in 2014, and this is just a wild ride. They actually had a fairly large budget for this movie, and it totally bombed because it was just like the effects and everything are really cool, but it just did not like mesh together well. This has Aaron Eckhart and Bill Nye in it. So this is set like 20 years after Frankenstein's monster comes to life, and he's basically still living, walking around. He's embedded in a war between gargoyles and mankind. You're kind of not sure if he's a good guy or a bad guy. He's very human-esque. While this is cheesy and not necessarily executed really well, I still highly recommend it if you just know that going in, because it was just really wild and fun to watch. Sometimes I have like bad movie nights where we watch movies that are like not the best, but we still have a blast watching them, and this is one I actually want to rewatch it again. It takes itself like way too seriously, but I don't know, I still thought it was really fun and it's worth a watch. I know my husband and my brother really enjoyed this one too, just for like the wackiness of it. Next we have Van Helsing. This came out in 2004, I believe, and of course has Hugh Jackman and Kate Beckinsale and Richard Roxburgh and a bunch of other people in it, so this was really popular like when it first came out. So in this one we have a lot to do with Dracula, because you're following Van Helsing, who's a monster slayer, and he is off to like go and defeat Dracula in Transylvania. But Dracula and then Frankenstein's monster have like formed an alliance. So obviously not a real retelling at all, but there is a lot to do with Frankenstein in here as well. Again, kind of like I, Frankenstein. This is just like over the top, kind of silly and dramatic and fun and definitely dated a little bit, but I still, again, really enjoyed it. I kind of put up with a little bit more cheese and things like that around fall, Halloween, and Christmas time, so I think you guys will still like this one. And then lastly, we have Victor Frankenstein. This is with James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe, and this is probably my favorite of the retellings. So again, you're following Victor as a young man, and he is learning everything, and this has a lot of its own twists and turns and things that are not in the book. Obviously, none of these really follow the book like exactly, but I really like this one. I thought the quality was good, the acting is good. It definitely, again, takes itself a little bit too seriously, but I really enjoyed it. I love both the actors in here, and it's got a darker vibe without being too scary, so I would recommend it. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this list. Let me know if you've checked out any of these movies down below in the comments, or if you plan on checking them out, and let me know of any good ones that you enjoy as well, and I will see you guys next time on The Bright Side tomorrow.